everybody. The NBA season have officially come to an end last night, and the Golden State Warriors won their fourth NBA title in 6 years, becoming, as they are, it's official. They are officially a dynasty team, and they look like they could repeat again. And who would have thought that after losing to the Toronto Raptors in 2019, who would have thought they would be at this point again? But they congratulations to Klay. And who I really feel good for winning that title last night. I feel really good for Klay Thompson, because after game 5, after he tore his quad. Had his torn ACL not once but twice, and missed 2 seasons with a terrible leg injury, and to come back and look like his former. Now he didn't have a great NBA final for any stretch of the imagination, but he contributed long enough in the playoffs to help the Golden State Warriors to win their 4th NBA title in the last 6 seasons, as the 35th NBA season has come to a close last night by defeating the Boston Celtics. Well, I have to admit, I was wrong. I picked the Celtics in 7, and I thought I thought the Celtics was going to win in 7. So does a lot of people thought that the Celtics was going to win in 7, but give the Warriors. You got to give the Warriors credit. There's no other way around it. Give the Warriors credit. They really, after Game 4, after losing at home in Game 3, after losing on the road to the Boston Celtics in Game 3, we thought, the Warriors would. You expect the Warriors. I wasn't surprised when the Warriors won Game 4. I didn't expect them to. I wasn't surprised that they won Game 4. I knew they was going to win at Boston, but I didn't expect them to win at Boston twice. I was not expecting to for them to win twice, and last night, after in the first I don't know how much minutes it was in the first quarter, they was down by 12, and to come back and never let that lead relinquish. The closest the Boston Celtics have really gotten in this game was 9 points. After that, it was 10 points or more, and those threes were killer. And the thing that really telling of the story too, two things in that game, in Game 6 alone, show me last night why the Warriors won the title. They capitalized on turnovers, and they've been doing that, and they do that. They've been doing that throughout the whole season. They capitalize on turnovers, and they defense. They people underestimate their defense, because their defense is very stout, very suffocating, very in your face, especially with Draymond Green and being the monster that he is. Even though he showed a couple of threes, and he didn't have a good final. He didn't have a good NBA final, really, but for the most part, and offensive rebounds. Between Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green, they really capitalized on offensive boards, and that was really the telling of the game last night between the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics, and that's the 2 main reasons why, in my view, that they won the game. That they won the game. So give kudos to not only Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr is correct. This is the least talented Warriors team out of all 4 championships they have won. This is the most least talented, and this proves once and for all that they never needed Kevin Durant. And even though I knew that, But there's some basketball fans around the world that, they needed Kevin Durant to win the champ. They miss Kevin Durant. They need Kevin Durant to win the title. Nah, they just proved once and for all they never need Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant need the Warriors to win the title. That's why he joined. But that's neither here or there. As far as the MVP, if they would have gave it to Andrew Wiggins, I wouldn't really have a problem with it. Even though, Steph Curry, and by the way, this is Steph Curry's best final by far. I think nobody's not going to argue. This is Steph Curry's best performance in the final, and to me, this may solidify his legacy as the greatest shooter in one of the greatest shooters in NBA history and one of the greatest guard. You gotta put him up. You gotta put him as an all-timer now. You gotta put him in that conversation now. I mean, he wasn't before, but now he got a Finals MVP as a superstar, as the face of the franchise he is. Because remember, in the last 3 championships he have won, he didn't win the NBA. He didn't win the NBA. He wasn't Finals MVP. He wasn't. The fact now he finally got an NBA. He's an NBA Final MVP. He deserve it. And to show you the type of player Steph Curry is. He's very unselfish, and that's what a lot of people don't talk about too. That they don't really talk about. And I would say I would give it to Andrew Wiggins too, because part of me say, yeah, Steph Curry won with that. I think the Warriors don't win the championship if Andrew Wiggins didn't really step up and make his presence known defensively. I don't think the Warriors win this championship if it wasn't for Andrew Wiggins. So you could add that to the mix too. So congratulations to the Warriors. They will travel later on tonight. They're most likely going to travel tonight and go to San Francisco. And the parade is going to be like next week or so, like probably around Tuesday or Monday, right around there. I'm pretty sure Monday or Tuesday, something like that. But kudos to the Golden State Warriors. And who would have thought in 2008 when Steph Curry was drafted by the Warriors, this is the type of team that the Warriors will become. So it's kudos. Speaking of the team, listen. The Boston Celtics, what an unbelievable ride it is. What a great organization there is. And they gave our fans a hell of a treat. But I'm gonna be rough. I don't mean to be rough for y'all. But you can't blow a 2-1 lead. You cannot turn the ball over the way I did and expect to win the title. When the opportunity, and Mark Jackson Mark Jackson said it best on the telecast. If with the opportunity present itself, you have to capitalize, and that separates a championship team from a non-championship team, and that's what the Warriors did last night. They capitalized on opportunities, because let's face it, folks, the Celtics had a chance to make a comeback in this series. Had a chance to make a comeback in the NBA. They, like I mentioned, the closest they have gotten to the game was 9 points in the second half, and after that was it. After Andrew Wiggins made that shot, after Andrew Wiggins hit that 3, 80 when it was 89-80, that was it. And from that point forward, that snatched you could quote unquote snatch the soul from the Boston Celtics. Now, let me finally get to the Boston Celtics. As I was trying to get the Celtics game plan was atrocious. The way they played was awful. 20 turnovers. Your biggest star, Jason Tatum, scored 2 points. 2 points. Jaylen Brown was the Jaylen Brown with 21 points was the leading scorer in the game. Al Horford was making threes. Marcus Smart was struggling. Marcus Smart was struggling. Grant Williams was turning the ball over left and right. The possessions was awful. And the way they came out, they showed some heart. Yes, they showed some heart. Came back from 9 points. Trying to come back from 9 points. But after that, that was it. That was an embarrassment. That was an embarrassing performance. This is out of all the games they have played. This is probably the worst game in this playoff this Boston Celtics team this year have ever played this year. And add the fact this is the first time they lost three straight in a playoff game of this year. Because every time they lose a game, they bounce back. Every time they lose a game, they bounce back. After game 4, that's it. After that, they just got blitzed. And the Celtics couldn't recover, you know. And if I'm Jason Tatum, I'm very sick to my stomach right now. Because game 4 was their chance to go up 3-1, put a stranglehold, and they couldn't do that. You know. Yes, in game 5 they limited Steph Curry, but after that was Steph Curry went off in game 6 and game 4, and it all comes down to this. And the offensive boards. As I told you yesterday, folks, the Celtics have more size than the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green, believe it or not, is not really known as a block. He's a block. He's not as big as Gary Williams or Al Horford. And I don't understand. Speaking of Al Horford, I don't understand how you let what they was doing. Al Horford, Gordon, Steph Curry. Like, who brilliant? Whose strategy was that? Cause Curry ate up Al Horford like it was his lunch. Just toying with Al Horford, you know. This was a mismatch from up. This was a mismatch from up 9 times to Saturday. It was awful. And from that point forward, the Golden State Warriors from the second half, from the second half, from the start of the fourth quarter, they say, no, you know what, we have this. We got them right where we want them. And the Celtics couldn't do nothing about it. They got out-rebound by Golden State in Game 6. Despite the fact you have 2 big men. Despite the fact the Golden State, the Boston Celtics has 2 big men. 2. And they got out-rebound. And the Celtics played sloppily yesterday in a closeout game. You cannot play sloppy when your season is on the line and expect to win the series. That's not championship basketball. So the Boston Celtics, it's gonna be a long off season, and let's see what Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, how they gonna respond. It remains. Everything remains to be seen. As for the Warriors, once again, congratulations. It's now It's official. They are a dynasty there's a new dynasty in the NBA. And it's in Golden State, in the Bay Area. Whether it's Oakland or San Francisco. They could be the Mount Rushmore. 35th anniversary NBA season. That's coming.